Hi all, this is Dan Pro from Tanishq Capital. So this is the first basic video we are going to release. This will be very base level. So we just want to have a continuity kind of stuff, like from intro to the advanced level we need to go. So for that reason we just added the small video which will be discussing more on the intro to a stock market, or if a new person comes to the market and see what and all opportunities are there and where and all he can use the opportunities to invest or trade or whatever he wants to do. So we are just going to see the list of stuffs. First is the debt, the debentures and the bond. So that's the lowest risk where a newbie can invest money on that. So before this there is an FD, so that is known to most of the common people. See, fixed deposit and the recurring deposit. So we are not covering those things. So next to that, risk wise, if you look at that, so debt is and bond market is the first and the safest. Safest in the sense I am prioritizing everything in the order of risk. So without knowing anything, so if somebody wants to do something in the market, so best thing is buy debt and bond market, so that they know more about markets and then get to know what is what. So by that time they can lock their capital. So this will be the first best instrument to trade on that. So you averagely get almost 7 to 10%, depends upon the nature of the bond and the debts where you are going to invest. And the second one is the mutual funds. So last 2 years or 3 years back there is one campaign called mutual fund Sahi Hai. So you might all be knowing what is mutual fund. It is just a cumulative way of portfolio management. Instead of you buying the stocks and selecting the portfolio allocation, there are experts who will do that for you, and you need to pay a small premium. That everything includes in whatever you are going to buy. So it's a basket of something. So 1,000 rupees if you want to invest in some of the mutual funds, they will always deduct whatever the charges they want, and they will be investing on the list of companies what they analyzed as good for to invest. So that is one more investment. Like instead of you selecting the stock and managing the portfolio weightage, so they let the expert do for you, and you can just watch or learn from how they are doing. So this is all safest options in the sense in terms of risk. So there are different, like same way mutual fund categories will be there. Debt mutual fund, bond mutual, I think debt mutual fund, and equity based. And equity also there is equity ELSS schemes, equity linked savings schemes, means that will come under 3 years locking period. So you can claim tax benefit over that, but the thing is you will not be able to withdraw within 3 years of limit. But generally mutual fund returns are more for the ELSS. If you just go and study the performance report, most of the high yield performance will be on the ELSS. So better to invest in ELSS so that you get your capital locked. Even if you want to retrieve, like in the fall of last March and till May, you will not be able to withdraw. So you will be forced to stay in the equity. So it's generally a 3 year to 5 year cycle. Market will go up and down. So if you based on emotion, if you want to withdraw mutual fund based on the corona issue or whatever geopolitical tension what we faced in last 2-3 months, then ELSS will not let you retrieve the amount because it has a login period of 3 years. It has both the benefits. The thing is you play the curve longer. So that is one benefit you will get. And exchange traded fund. Exchange traded fund in the sense there are a lot of indexes like Nifty, Bank Nifty, Auto, even Gold, whatever is there. So they have exchange traded fund. So instead of you will not be able to buy all the 50 stocks in Nifty 50. Then each stock if you want to buy, then that portfolio value will be little bit higher. But whereas if you go and see the Nifty 50, any ETF, there are so many ETFs in different AMCs. Means all mutual funds, different groups are there. So ETF is lively traded. It is not mutual fund. Generally mutual fund is NAV based and EOD basis. NAV is calculated and you buy based on that. Whereas ETF is most of the time it's lively traded. So you can just trade like stocks. And the investment will be very good. So it is widespread. Instead of you spending money for mutual fund, like as a charge for maintaining your portfolio, you can just buy a mutual fund. Like instead of mutual fund, you can buy a ETF. What mutual fund keep as a reference is any index. Like if they are taking Nifty 50 or Nifty Junior, based on whatever sector they index, they keep Nifty 50 as the reference for their performance. Instead of you going and getting locked over there in the mutual fund, you can just buy the reference fund itself. No need of extra money, extra nothing is required. Only thing is, still many mutual funds are struggling to beat the returns of the ETFs. Let's say if you take Nifty, their references, if you take some of the funds, 30 to 40% will be struggling to meet that. So why to go for that kind of funds? So you can invest directly in ETF and you can enjoy the benefit of not paying anything for the charges. Like it is managed by directly the ETF itself. So you will not get any extra charges. And the other part is equity stocks. So here comes the real game starts here. It is like an emotional kind of stuff. Like some people will say, you would have seen a lot of messages circulating that if you would have invested Wipro at this point or Infosys at this point of time with 1 lakh or 10,000 rupees, now you would have been multi-millionaire. And there were one more kind of circulation was going on. Like instead of buying a bullet, so that cost around 1 lakh or 60,000 at that time, you would have bought Royal Enfield share. That means HS Motor share. Now you would have buy even a luxury car also. And then there were something like the Hero Honda, Bajaj Auto. Instead of buying a Bajaj bike, you would have bought Bajaj Auto 10 years back. People will say a lot of stories. But the thing is, that's what it is a combination of both. If you want to see, you can see shares which have been listed at 4,000 rupees, 2,000 rupees, 3,000 rupees, now trading at penny. So it is the way which you wanted to see in the stock. So people will generally give good example, but you need to know the bad example also, because you need not to get stuck in there. So for that reason, you need to know both the bad and good things about these stocks. So next, cash means cash investment. Then what happens generally, you can start trading on the stocks in an intraday leverage. Let's say you have 10,000 rupees. So they will give a leverage of 3 rupees, 4 rupees, but on an intraday you need to take the leverage and close the trade. Maybe instead of 100 rupees, now you will gain 1000 rupees. Same way, instead of 100 rupees, you may lose 1000 rupees. That is the next benefit or the issue with the trading in cash market. But only thing is, whatever you are able to do in a small capital, you can scale up with intraday. Again, the problem here is within one day you need to have a clear view about whether the stock is going to stay up or down. So both you can do, shorting also and you can go long also. But only thing is, shorting you cannot carry forward, whereas buying with margin also, there are some brokers who provide some limit basis, like interest basis margin, where you can buy and hold till your target and you can pay only interest amount for the margin you are going to use either for 1 day, 10 day or even 1 month. But the thing is, will you able to meet that percentage payable through this return? So that you need to decide and you need to limit yourself. So and then there comes futures and options. I said, right, you cannot short and carry the position. Means short selling is not allowed in cash market. So in that case, why futures and options came into play? Generally people wanted to take leverage trade and they wanted to carry forward also. So for that reason, what exchange has come up with, it has come up with a prescribed lot size for each and every stock or index, whatever it is. So they fixed up the trade value and the index started, means SEBI or the people who are governing all these things have set some standards, like by paying 10% or 15% or 20% of the margin, you can carry forward for the trade maybe for next 1 month, or if you want to trade for next 6 months, even there are contracts which you can hold for 6 months. Then there may be a slight cost of carry will be there. So that way you can trade with lesser capital overnight and even short selling you can do. Then came the options. Why? Because generally this is a leverage market and you are carrying overnight leverage position. Even on an intraday basis, just a small move will kill you, or if it is in the direction of you, it can give huge money. So think about over the night something good happen or something bad happens. So you might be long, some will be selling that and holding that. So to cover up this uncertainty, the exchange came with the idea of options, which can cover up the all the uncertainty or the risk you are going to carry based on the leverage trades. But nowadays what people are doing is we are using options as not an hedging tool, we are started using as a speculative one. Yeah, still fine, but speculative is okay, but you need to know the real risk involved in doing options trading. Because why options is a leveraged product of already a leveraged future. Means if you want to buy one stock which you are expecting it will fly like anything or it will fall like anything, instead of buying 100 quantity in cash or 1000 quantity in cash, you can trade in future with 10%, 20% of the margin. Whereas in option, there are options which are 2 rupees, 3 rupees. So with that again you will get a leverage. But only thing is you need to be precisely right both about the timing and the move. That is the one reason why option is little difficult, because some people may be correct in identifying the trend, but timing may not be appropriate based on their expectation. Because timing nobody can say. You can only say this is the direction, it can go here or there, but you cannot say within one day, within 1 month. So based on that, that will be a little problem in doing the options. Generally futures and options means it comes under, even you can have equity, all the stocks, all the indices which are trading. So you have futures. And again in the commodity market, for commodity also now started coming even options for everything. The gold has thing and crude has started coming, and same way currencies. So better if you want to learn FNO better, I would suggest do currency. Initially start with currency if you want to learn something, because their movement of the currencies will be little less, and even the large size, all those stuff. A small move may not give you a big profit. Again the small move against you will not give you a good loss, but you can literally learn live trading based on that. Generally what people do is, no, I traded like this, I will assume and I will note in a notepad or Excel, and then after 2 to 3 days they will see. But that is a emotionless one. Instead of doing that, you can just ignore and you can do your work. Basically that's where the problem happens between the live trade and whatever you assume or you predict. That is where the problem comes. So how do you assume all those things? See, you can assume, but only thing is it is not called as assumption, it is just a prediction. So here comes the real science in this kind of stuff. This is not like gambling. There are theories behind it, there are reasons behind it where we have learned. It is not like you need to go through a financial courses like you would have done something like MCom, BCom, then only you can do this. Nothing like that. So market is just a probability game, and you learn probability in your schools, and it is a statistical analysis. So we already learned in 8th, 9th and 10th, I guess. So even a degree level education does not require this. You need to understand what is the risk in it, how these things are effectively going to get predicted, means in what way, and what is the risk you are going to take. That is what it matters most. So I said you are going to, now it is not assumption, it is the prediction. So how do we predict? So you can analyze something and then only you can predict. So what kind of analysis you can do? So it's a fundamental analysis, it's a technical analysis. There are two types of things. So they always contradict with each other. It is like the story of which comes first, the hen or the egg. So, but it's a combination of all the steps. Maybe fundamental would have paved the way and the stock will move and the technicals will come, or else the technicals would have given a move and then based on that the fundamentals would have come up. So it is a like of which comes first. That is dilemma is still there, but only thing is you can say, you can treat it in this way. For fundamental analysis you may require a lot of time to achieve your prediction, whereas technicals it's a purely time based, like price based. It's a statistical approach about what is a mean, median, mode. So this is what we have learned. Now we are going to the little complex stuffs like moving average. There are some indicators like which depends upon the price movement, whereas the fundamental analysis, the name suggests that it depends on the fundamentals of the company. So whatever the company is earning, so how it is spending, how the promoter holdings are there, so where and all it is spending, how it is growing. So all these things will come under fundamental of the analysis of the stocks, whereas the technical stuffs are basically a price based. So how the price is moving without considering what the company is doing, you just need to assume that whatever the company, it is a positive or negative, the price has already will factor in. So based on these assumptions, the technicals will go on. So maybe from the next video onwards, we will be giving more emphasis, because we will be more emphasis on the technical part, because we as a trader and we as a capital management services, we don't do commodity and currencies, because there are overnight issues are there. Yeah, currencies we can do, less risk will be there, but equity you can try it out for the good return part of it. And if you know how to handle the risk, again the risk may not come from fundamentally, because we are trading it for a little shorter time period, maybe in a week, maybe in a day, maybe in a month. We are not trading intraday for our own capital or for our client capital, but you need to have your view at least for next few days, next few weeks, next, it may not be months, but next few weeks it could be. So in that case, instead of giving more weightage to the fundamentals, so if you are investing on a cash basis, then it would be better you understand both the technical and the fundamental. But we are trading in the F&O, and we are going to concentrate more on the F&O part as an option trading institute or option trading mentor or a guider. So we will be concentrating more on the F&O part. So for that reason, so for to continue to have a continuity basis, so I think it will be limit our vision to the technical part of it, so that from the next video onwards we will be discussing more on what is technical, so on what basis you start. So we will end up there in options, but you need to know how, from where we are starting and where we are going. So this is what this video is meant for, a short discussion about all these stuffs. I hope even the new people will be thinking this will be useful. For at least the person who already knows it, you can just think it as a brush up part of it. So that's it from our side. So we'll see you soon in the next video, which will be concentrating now more on the technical part of it, which will go to the derivatives part of it. Thank you guys, and have a nice day.